Hello and welcome to the third episode of our English Zone podcast channel. Today, my friend and I are going to teach you English through conversation.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and help you learn a bit more about how English really sounds.
Right. So today, we're diving into a pretty common situation. We'll listen to a conversation between a boyfriend and girlfriend. They're apologizing to each other.
This kind of thing happens, doesn't it? And it's actually a great way for you, the listeners, to pick up some English you can use in real life.
Exactly. Practical stuff.
And we'll also touch upon something fun, those little sweet names, pet names we call them, that couples often use.
Oh yeah, pet names. Okay, so as you listen, try to notice the natural flow, the words people choose. Sometimes simple sentences can have, layers of meaning.
That's a good point. And we'll be here to break down some key phrases, explain those nuances, those little differences in meaning to help you really understand.
Okay, let's jump in. The conversation starts with girlfriend asking something quite simple on the surface. Can we talk?
Can we talk? Yeah, it's just 3 words, very simple. But in English, when someone asks this, it often signals something more serious.
Serious? How so?
Well, it usually means they want to have a proper conversation about something important. It kind of prepares the other person,
Yeah.
Like, okay, this isn't just casual chat.
Right. So you probably wouldn't say, can we talk? If you just wanted to say, hey, nice shoes.
Exactly. Laugh slightly. No, if it's something light or positive, you'd typically just say it directly. Can we talk? Carries a bit of weight.
Oh.
Especially in a relationship context, hearing can we talk might make you pause and think, uh-oh, what's this about? It suggests there might be an issue or something significant to discuss.
That makes sense. It sets a certain tone.
It really does. And sometimes, learners might use it just because it's grammatically simple, without realizing it often implies seriousness for native speakers.
Good point. It's about the feeling behind the words, not just the words. Okay, so how does the boyfriend respond? He says, sure, honey, we're talking now, aren't we? You know what I mean?
Ah, yes. Let's focus on that last bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's that all about?
Well, the basic function is simple. It's asking, do you understand me? Like, are we on the same page here?
And I guess the way you say it matters a lot.
Absolutely. The intonation, the rise or fall of your voice can change it quite dramatically. It can be a genuine question, or it can be more like a statement.
Okay, explain that difference. How does it work as a statement?
Right. So if your voice stays level or goes down at the end, like, this homework is so boring, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not really asking if the other person understands that the homework is boring. You're kind of stating it as a shared feeling, maybe looking for agreement. You're almost assuming they get it.
Okay, like stating the obvious, maybe?
Or a shared feeling.
Yeah, or something you believe is a shared experience. Like, Mondays, you know what I mean? Your voice goes down.
Gotcha. So when is it a real question then? That's when your voice goes up at the end. For example, if someone's explaining something complex and they say, so you connect this wire here, then flip that switch. You know what I mean?
The voice goes up.
Exactly. They genuinely want to check if you're following their instructions. Or the example from the source, come on, you know what I mean when I say I don't like that place, right?
Yeah.
That upward inflection makes it a clear question seeking confirmation.
That's really useful. So listeners should pay attention to the melody of the sentence.
Definitely. It tells you a lot. It's a common phrase, you know what I mean? But understanding the intonation helps you catch the speaker's real intention.
Okay, moving on in the dialogue. The girlfriend then says, yeah, I know. I want to know where this relationship is going. I'm in love with you and I need to know. Okay, 2 big things there. First, I'm in love with you. And later, she just says, I love you. Is there a difference?
Yes, there is, and it's quite an important one in English. To be in love with someone, that's typically reserved for strong, deep, romantic feelings.
Romantic only.
Primarily, yes. You'd say, I'm in love with you, to your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It signifies that specific kind of passionate, romantic attachment.
So I wouldn't say, I'm in love with my dog, or I'm in love with my brother.
Laugh slightly. Generally, no. You'd say, I love my dog, or I love my brother. Love is a much broader term. You can love your family, your friends, your pets, pizza, But being in love with someone implies that specific romantic connection.
So in love with is more intense and specific to romance. Love is more general affection.
Precisely. It's a key distinction for learners to grasp, so they use the right phrase in the right situation. Using in love with inappropriately could sound a bit look drained.
Understood. Okay, the other big phrase she used was, I want to know where this relationship is going. What does that mean? It sounds serious again.
It usually is quite serious, yes. When someone asks, where is this relationship going, they're asking about the future.
The future? Like marriage and kids?
It could be about that. But more generally, it's about commitment, intentions, and the direction the relationship is heading. Are we serious? Do we see a future together? Do we want the same things? It's about clarifying the status and potential future of the relationship.
Okay. And can we use that structure, where is something going, for other things too?
Oh, absolutely. It's a very versatile pattern. You could talk about your job. I'm not sure where my career is going right now.
Meaning you're uncertain about your job's future or your path.
Exactly. Or imagine watching a confusing movie. I have no idea where this plot is going.
Right, you don't understand the story's direction.
Or even a long, rambling meeting. Does anyone know where this meeting is actually going? Meaning, what's the point? What's the intended outcome?
So it's about the purpose, direction, or future path of, well, almost anything.
Pretty much. Relationships, careers, stories, projects. What's a useful phrase to know?
Okay, back to the dialogue. The boyfriend's response is a bit evasive. He says, I think you're awesome. I'm awesome. Well, I guess that's my answer, isn't it, honey?
Freckles. Yeah, not the clearest answer, is it?
Not really. So the girlfriend pushes back. Look, if you don't love me, it's not a thing. All right, we've had our laughs, but I don't appreciate it. And then she stops. She says, well, maybe it's just time we. And trails off.
That unfinished sentence. Maybe it's just time we.
What does that usually suggest? When someone starts that and doesn't finish?
It's typically used to propose an action, often a significant or difficult one. By not finishing the sentence, she's hinting at something serious without actually saying the words. It hangs in the air.
So what might she have been about to say? What are the possibilities?
Well, given the context of the conversation about the relationship's future and her frustration, a very likely ending could be break up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or maybe take a break, or even have a really honest talk. But breakup is a strong possibility in this kind of scenario.
So it introduces a potential course of action, often a big one.
Exactly. In a different context, like if you're all really tired at a party, someone might say, well, maybe it's just time we went home. The situation tells you what's being suggested.
It's like a gentle, or maybe not so gentle, way of suggesting something major.
Right. It allows the idea to be introduced without fully committing to the words immediately.
Okay. So hearing this, the boyfriend reacts quickly. He blurts out, baby, I love you so much. And she's surprised. You do. He confirms, I love you and I think you're awesome.
And she responds, oh, I love you too. It seems like that unfinished sentence prompted him to finally be clear.
Yeah. Then there's a slightly weird line, come on, put the gun down.
Yeah.
Which is likely just metaphorical, like, stop pressuring me so hard.
Yes, probably just an idiom meaning stop being so intense or threatening. And she apologizes, oh, baby, I'm so sorry.
Right. But before that resolution, she said, we've had our laughs, but let's look at we've had our laughs. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
It's a common idiom. We've had our laughs. Basically means we've had good times together. It acknowledges the positive history, the fun, the happy moments they've shared.
Okay, just the good times.
Primarily, yes. But sometimes it's used just before bringing up a problem, like in this conversation. We've had good times, but...
Are there similar phrases that mean slightly different things? About the past of a relationship?
Oh, definitely. English has quite a few. For instance, we've had our ups and downs.
Ups and downs. That means good and bad times.
Exactly. It acknowledges both the positive and the negative periods. Then there's, we've had our moments.
Moments. Good or bad?
It can be either, depending on the context. It could mean significant times, both happy and difficult. Or sometimes, said with a different tone, it can mean special moments, perhaps romantic ones.
Okay. What else?
You might hear, we've had our issues. That one clearly focuses on the problems or difficulties they've faced together.
Issues means problems.
Right. So laughs is mostly positive, ups and downs is mixed, issues highlights problems, and moments can be either mixed or specifically special times. Knowing these helps you understand the speaker's perspective on the relationship's past.
That's subtle but important.
Yeah.
Okay, the conversation wraps up with apologies, and they use the word baby, which brings us to pet names.
Yes, pet names. These are affectionate nicknames people in romantic relationships often use for each other.
Like honey and baby that we heard in the dialogue.
Exactly. Those are probably two of the most common ones in English.
What are some others you hear a lot?
Well, there's sweetheart, Darling. That one sounds maybe a little more traditional or British sometimes, but still used. Sweetie is common too. And cutie.
Sweetheart, darling, sweetie, cutie. Okay.
You hear them a lot.
Are there any that are maybe a bit much? Over the top? The source called them cheesy.
Oh, yes. There are definitely some cheesy ones out there. Things like honey bunny or sweetie pie.
Honey bunny? Okay.
Or maybe even really unusual ones like snookums or, well, the source mentions smook snook snook, which sounds very unique. These very cutesy names are definitely a matter of personal taste.
Right. Some couples might love them, others might find them, well, cheesy.
Exactly. And many couples also have completely made-up names, ones that only they understand.
Like personal jokes or references.
Yeah, maybe based on an inside joke or a shared memory. The source mentioned Pooh Bear from Winnie the Pooh, or maybe something like dumpling. It could be anything, really. These often feel very personal and special to the couple.
But that makes sense. It's part of their unique connection.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, the source also touched on how pet names don't always translate well between languages.
Oh, how so?
Well, it gave the example of gourd in Spanish, which apparently means fatty, but can be used affectionately.
You wouldn't call someone fatty affectionately in English usually?
No, probably not. Or mapu in French, meaning my flea. Again, sounds very strange if you translate it literally into English.
My flea.
So what sounds sweet and normal in one language might sound odd or even insulting if directly translated. It really highlights how tied to culture these terms of endearment are.
That's fascinating. Language is so much more than just words.
It truly is.
So to wrap up our deep dive today,
Wow.
we covered a lot from just one short conversation.
We really did.
We looked at how can we talk? Often signals something serious. We saw how intonation changes, you know what I mean?
Right.
We clarified the important difference between being in love with someone and simply loving them.
Uh-huh. And we explored where is this relationship going and what that implies about the future. Plus those unfinished phrases like, maybe it's just time we.
Right. And the different ways to talk about the past, like we've had our laughs versus ups and downs or issues. And finally, all those pet names, from the common like baby and honey to the cheesy and the personal.
It's a great reminder for you as learners that context and tone are just as important as the words themselves in English communication, sometimes even more important.
Definitely. So we really encourage you to maybe listen back, practice these phrases, notice them when you watch movies or hear native speakers.
And please do visit the English Pod website if you have questions, or if you want to share some pet names from your own language. We'd genuinely love to see those.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, until next time, goodbye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing.